Venom 2 teaser trailer video. This leaked online recently and is claiming a bunch of things. One, that Sony is planning on actually releasing a movie this year because they just delayed the Morbius movie, but also that Venom 2 is supposed to be rated R, so I'll talk about that. But also Kevin Feige was talking about Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Verse stuff recently in the way they're connecting Venom and all these other different movies. So there is a lot of really cool stuff happening in the background, despite the fact that 2020 was such a crap year. 2021 will hopefully be much better. There's also a lot of Spider-Man 3 stuff that's going to be happening really soon too that I'll be doing videos for. So be sure to subscribe to get all those videos if you're brand new to my channel. But not to be forgotten, the Super Bowl, still an actual thing, hoping for some big Super Bowl trailers. I know everyone's wondering where the Spider-Man 3 trailer is because it was around this time, a couple years ago in 2019, that they released the first Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, so we're due for some new footage. Sony also just announced that they delayed the Morbius movie to October. Originally, it was supposed to come out in March and sort of begin this big Spider-Verse crossover that they're weaving through all these different Sony Venom movies and the MCU Spider-Man movies. So as far as we know, good news right now is that Venom 2 still currently coming out in June, and at least for right now, it seems like that date is safe, but just don't hold your breath on anything. Depending on how worried Sony is about making money this year, they might push Venom to a PG-13 rating, and they might delay it a little bit and just delay any potential Super Bowl trailer they release. So hopefully everything will work out in the next month or so, and we'll actually see some footage for some actual movies that we can buy tickets for later this year. But a lot of you were also asking about what this cryptic Tom Holland Twitter post is all about. He just posted this date and everyone's wondering what it's for. The date is for Thursday, and I know everybody wants him to be leaking the Spider-Man 3 trailer because that's a very Tom Holland spoiler bros thing for him to do.
So what makes a Joker like you want to join the United States Army for?
This guy had a face like death, and every other word out of his mouth was Joker.
Goddamn Joker.
But what he's actually teasing, though, is the other movie that he made with the Russo brothers called Cherry. That's the trailer that they're releasing on Thursday. I might do a video for it if it feels like a slow day and there's no other big Spider-Man news going on. Robert Downey Jr. was hyping it up with the Russos and Tom Holland the other day. So if you're wondering why Robert Downey Jr. is doing all these videos with Tom Holland the past couple of days in the Russos, it's not for a Marvel movie, it's just for a separate movie that Robert Downey Jr. is helping them promote. In legit Spider-Man 3 Spider-Verse news, Kevin Feige just did a big round of interviews for the WandaVision series, which is dropping episodes this Friday. Of course, I'll be doing videos for that stuff. The director of WandaVision also said that he was working with the director of Spider-Man 3, John Watts, to help explain the flow of all the multiverse stuff that's happening. So apparently, in addition to setting up MCU X-Men, as well as Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, WandaVision also helps set up Spider-Man 3. But that doesn't mean that Spider-Man is going to cameo during WandaVision or anything like that. But it does make you a little more excited about the series, knowing that it's going to be connected to Spider-Man 3, and also lets you know that they are actually doing some legit Spider-Verse stuff during that. The way that Kevin Feige spoke about Spider-Man 3 in all of his interviews, though, he said that some of the rumors that people have been posting about all the Spider-Verse stuff, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, some of that's true, some of it is not true. That's just his way of covering his bases, but also confirming, yes, we're definitely doing some Spider-Verse stuff during that. That also gets into the Venom 2 Venom Spider-Man crossover that's happening later on, because we have the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man suit that shows up in the Morbius trailer, and the fact that Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness are big crossover movies. Doctor Strange, major character in Spider-Man 3, sort of like a big Avengers crossover. Spider-Man also probably going to have a cameo and crossover in Doctor Strange 2. Spider-Man 3 comes out right before Doctor Strange 2, so that's why I say those movies are probably more connected than people think that they are. So no surprise that the multiverse would play a role in how the story of Spider-Man 3 plays out. If they're saying even WandaVision is helping set up Spider-Man 3, the whole big thing with WandaVision is it just sort of sets off their big Marvel Phase 4 multiverse plot. But that also provides them with an opportunity to explain future Venom Spider-Man crossover and how that plays out, just laying the groundwork for all that to make sense. Because it allows Kevin Feige to avoid having to deal with a ton of Venom explainers and larger Sonyverse stuff inside the MCU if he doesn't want to. Right now, though, the big live-action Spider-Verse crossovers that we know about in Spider-Man 3, Venom 2, and the Morbius movie are, starting in the Morbius movie, because at least originally, that movie was supposed to come first in all these big Spider-Man crossovers, We were supposed to see the big Spider-Man Easter eggs like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suit on the wall here with the words killer on it because he's been framed. Also sort of meta referencing what was happening with Tom Holland's character at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home being framed for Mysterio's death. But at the same time letting us know that the Sony Venomverse movies are connected to the Spider-Man movies, just backed up by the fact that also in the movie, Michael Keaton's Vulture character shows up in the same white prison jumpsuit that he was last seen wearing in the Spider-Man Homecoming post-credit scene with the Scorpion. And apparently during that scene, when he's talking to Morbius, it's only supposed to be a cameo scene, pretty minor, but he's just supposed to be there purely for the purpose of setting up the new version of the Sinister Six team that's going to overlap between the Sony Venom movies and the MCU Spider-Man movies in the future. Then the Venom 2 movie was supposed to come after that, and even though the plot is mostly a light adaptation of the Carnage origin story, that's why they're calling it Let There Be Carnage instead of Maximum Carnage, because that is a much cooler title. Why wouldn't you call it Maximum Carnage? Mostly because they're saving that story for a later sequel and an escalation of the Carnage story. But during Venom 2, in addition to doing full-blown Carnage, there was also talk of an actual Tom Holland Spider-Man cameo scene, like legit Spider-Man showing up. Nobody knew where it was supposed to happen or what it was going to look like, so everyone just kind of assumed it would be a post-credit scene stinger to set up Spider-Man Venom crossover in a later movie. Then before we learned about all the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man 3 Spider-Verse stuff, it was assumed that at least one of the Spider-Man 3 post-credit scenes would be teasing Venom crossover. So there was always going to be some level of Spider-Verse that they had to invoke with all these big crossovers. It's just that now, with all the new Spider-Man 3 news and all these rumored castings, they're rolling Spider-Verse way harder than I think that anybody expected. Like, they definitely don't need to roll this hard. It was already going to be a huge movie. Mostly because there's still that whole plot with Spider-Man being doxxed by Mysterio having to clear his name, and they're already busy setting up Spider-Man vs. the Sinister Six in the MCU. So everyone just got a little worried last year when we suddenly heard about a billion other characters announced and rumored in the movie, like Dr. Octopus, that's amazing. Wait, Electro 2? What the what? What kind of movie is this? I hope that Tom Holland's character gets a cameo. But remember, Kevin Feige said that some of the rumors are not true, which I think means that just all the other Spider-Verse stuff is mostly just really small and short cameos. Like, most of them are only a couple minutes at best, and most of the movie is still Tom Holland's Spider-Man clearing his name in an escalation of the MCU Sinister Six related stuff. For those of you that are still getting really hyped up about Venom 2 though, just to talk more about that movie, the whole thing with their story, because they've changed so much about the Carnage and the Venom origin stories already inside that first Venom movie, that was all before they had solid plans for big Tom Holland Spider-Man crossover. So even though Venom 2 isn't going to completely retcon the story of the first Venom movie, they are going to sort of retune things just a little bit creatively to make it more of a legit horror film and sort of provide the opportunity for Spider-Man to exist in this universe. That's why he doesn't have the Spider-Man symbol on his chest yet, is because they're saving that for the big Spider-Man crossover so that after they team up, then the Venom symbiote replicates the Spider-Man symbol. But based on some of the set footage that we saw last year of them filming at a church, it does seem like they're trying to at least include aspects of the original Venom origin story that we saw play out during the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3 movie. I'm just waiting for like a funny Twitter post or something from Topher Grace where he jokes about waiting for the Call to come back as his version of Venom. The big rumor right now, though, is that Sony is just waiting for Tobey Maguire to finish signing his contract before they actually start promoting all this big Spider-Verse stuff. They're going to be filming Spider-Man 3 outdoors really soon as well, so hopefully we'll actually see some more footage from the set. So whatever winds up happening, of course I'll do videos for it. But leave all your requests and your big questions about it in the comments below. My full WandaVision Episode 1 and Episode 2 video is going to post Friday. Make sure you have alerts turned on so you don't miss those. My videos for that will post just like I did for the Mandalorian Season 2 episodes every Friday. There'll be a bunch more Marvel trailers for all the Marvel Phase 4 stuff coming in the next couple of weeks too as well, while WandaVision is happening. They'll use that to promote all the other stuff they're releasing later this year.